because of the crisis, because of the dangers that we face in the world, some new and unpredicted threat, we need more authority. We need more power. And there will be nothing that people can do at that point to oppose it. And it'll be turnkey tyranny.
So I'm sure everybody knows where we, Citizen Radio, fall on this.
Hang him!
Obviously, we think, he's a hero. He did a really courageous thing.
Well, I mean, it was fucking nuts. Exactly what we said on the show yesterday was the reason we assumed he wouldn't come out is because we were like, okay, so number one, how brave do you have to be to blow the whistle on something this big? Pretty fucking brave, right? Number two, how much braver do you have to be to come out with this information under the Obama administration, who has declared a war, a literal war on whistleblowers?
Well, I think Greenwald really cut to the heart of the matter when he tweeted, "Courage is contagious." And I love that because, I kept talking about how amazing it is whenever a whistleblower still comes forward because the government's made clear their intention to hunt them to the ends of the earth. So a little part of you always wonders why do they keep doing it? But I do think that's part of it, that courage is contagious. When you see somebody like Bradley Manning come forward, there is someone out there watching that who maybe that's the tipping point for them where they're like, I have to do something.
Well, especially this guy had nothing to gain. He had a sweet life. He had a wife. He lived in Hawaii.
Girlfriend.
A girlfriend. He lived in Hawaii. Hawaii for the mainlanders. And my mom's Hawaiian, sorry. And
really?
I'll make it even worse. For the Howleys. And he still fucking did this. And, one of the reasons that he did this, I forget if he said this in the interview or if I read this afterwards, was that he wanted to inspire others to do it.
And I love that idea that when you step forward, it might feel like you're really alone. And ultimately, you do pay the price alone, but that you are sort of, contributing to a pool of courage and people, find hope in that. If somebody's out there who has a high security clearance like Snowden did, maybe that will inspire future whistleblowers.
And they see, Bradley Manning, it's just shit, he's not doing well. But if you look at the support that Bradley Manning has and the support that Snowden has, that shit is inspiring. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, and now the spin has begun where we're going to talk about it in a little bit, what happened on CNN. But
now, this was just a random time of the day that we tuned into CNN. I'm sure it's been happening on other shows,
Yeah, people have started to speculate about, his mental stability, and we'll get into CNN in a little bit. But even in so-called liberal circles, people have started to say stuff like, does he even count as a whistleblower? Because technically what he revealed, what the NSA is doing, has been legalized. Now, that's really interesting because what happens when otherwise illegal behavior is legalized by the United States? And then someone like Edward Snowden steps forward and reveals it. Well, lawmakers say you're not a whistleblower because we're not technically breaking the law. And that's really interesting because it's well, right, but the average U.S. citizen still has no idea what's going on. So for a citizen, you are whistleblowing.
Well, yeah, and it's also all right, so pick. Either he has put us all in danger, and the terrorists now know our battle plans, and he is one of the most dangerous man alive, or he's just saying shit we already knew.
Yeah, and they want to have it both ways, and they did this with WikiLeaks, too, where they're like, you endangered U.S. lives and also revealed nothing.
Right.
And it was well, dude, it has to be one or the other.
Right.
We either revealed state secrets that are so sensitive that people are going to fucking die, or we're useless, we're a joke, nobody cares about us. You can't send us to, jail to die because we didn't do anything of value, you know, or of consequence.
Yeah, apparently a court did rule on the legality of this, but the Obama administration has not revealed the verdict.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. It's if you can manipulate the system to either work on your behalf or keep everything secret, then it also doesn't count as being like morally correct, you know? You've rigged the system to win every time for you. And every time the average US citizen loses.
Yeah.
Because you spy on us, because you can detain us without trial. And this might all be on, like, quote unquote legal.
Right.
But is it legal if you appoint the judges and, like, you know?
So I still find it so funny that Barack Obama couldn't even pass a watered down background check gun control bill because of the Second Amendment. And the Fourth Amendment, I saw someone point out on Twitter, we have just axed.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I don't like at the end of the Constitution when it like rolls up. Like, can we like cut some stuff? Fourth, cut it.
Just for the sake of neatness.
Right. And it's really interesting that, and you were alluding to this before, it's not being framed as the government versus American citizens, which is what it is. It's the government has invaded our privacy, and that's what it is. They are violating our rights. It's being framed as Eric Snowden versus America,
and
not even the government.
That's
America.
what our stupid establishment media does. They turn it into like a personality contest where all of a sudden we're debating, is Edward Snowden stable? Did he have something going on the side? Is he like employed by the Chinese government?
He's a Ron Paul supporter, which, by the way, we almost didn't even cover the story.
Or on the flip side, is he a hero? And we end up talking about this one man instead of the NSA spying on millions of Americans.
Right. So even like the best case situation where they bring on someone like Glenn Greenwald to debate, it is still framed
just about this one guy.
Well, just about this one guy, but also, does he hate America? Glenn Greenwald's here to try to overcome that terrible setup we just gave it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when you're an average viewer and you hear, does this guy hate America? He's hiding in China. It doesn't matter what the fuck Glenn says. CNN has already painted the picture.
Yeah, and they did this with Bradley Manning. They did it with Julian Assange. It becomes like, it's like Barbara Walters profiling the most fascinating people of the year, you know?
Yeah.
It's just focusing on like their flaws, their, you know, attributes, and we're not talking about bigger issues like war crimes. We're not talking about NSA spying on millions of Americans. The big issues that we're supposed to be talking about and the media should be talking about, it's too complex, it's too scary and big, so they just end up focusing on a very, very small detail.
Yeah.